agreed to, and I call the honourable member for Lyons.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Look, I was very pleased to hear that the member for Kingston was recently in Tasmania. Unfortunately, the forum that she attended when she was down there, they couldn't find one of their own Tasmanian senators to actually represent and speak on behalf of the very important reforms that the government is making in respect of higher education. But the member for Kingston isn't the only member that's ventured down to Tasmania in more recent times. We've had the member for Adelaide. She was in my electorate only a month ago. For the first time in years and years and years, Lyons is back on the radar of the Labor Party. They took it for granted for 20 years. And so I'm very pleased. I welcome members of the Labor Party and the Shadow Ministry that want to come down to Tasmania and spruik what it is. We've also had the member for Ballarat. In my electorate, we've had the Leader of the Opposition more recently in Braddon there. And it's great to see the Labor Party, after ignoring my state for so long, and the damage that they did with the Labor Party and the Greens in power both in Tasmania and in Canberra, we're slowly starting to rebuild, and you're most welcome any time to come down there and have a look at the good work that's going on by the new Tasmanian government. All complaint and no solution. If it was so good, Deputy Speaker, it would have been funded, because in 2013-14 the budget was brought down not by the Liberal Party but by the Labor Party. An absolute disgrace. And of course, getting children into work and education should be and always is a priority of government, and it should be also a priority of the community. They need indeed to have the best opportunities to secure a job, to go on to higher education. But there's not one simple fix. There's not one simple thing, and to suggest so is just quite simply misleading. The Abbott Coalition government is providing more opportunities for young Australians to earn and or learn. And it's my true belief that this starts with the family. It's about the culture that is embedded within the family unit. It is about the example that mums and dads set to their children. Yes, of course, indeed, schools have a role to play. The community mentors have a role to play, and the conversations and the culture, but needs to begin not at year 9 or year 10, but needs to begin in year 5 or year 6. And this needs to be embedded into the curriculum. I give an example in my own electorate of the Glenora District School. The principal, Philip Wells, indeed a fine educator, and the pride in which he takes, having for the first time ever in a regional or rural school getting all of the last year's Year 10 students to go on to Year 11. Now, some of you may not realise, but in Tasmania, unfortunately, we don't have in the high schools Year 11, Year 12. That is being changed by the current state government, and they have introduced a voluntary system where schools can apply to become part of a program to reintroduce Year 11, Year 12. But Philip Wells, the principal at Glenora District School, got all of the students from Year 10 to go on to college last year, and 3/4 of the way through 2014 they're still there, and full marks to him, because this was a program that started at the district school in Year 5 and Year 6. He's working with the living Deputy Speaker to encourage these kids to understand the opportunities that are there. Some of these kids come from very poor backgrounds, from very low SES backgrounds, and with no disrespect to mum and dad, they just don't know the opportunities that are there in the big wide world and the opportunities that a good education can give to those children. It's indeed the Beacon Foundation. So many would be aware in this south. There's a number of schools in my electorate: the Cressy District School, New Norfolk High School, the Campbelltown District School, and Sorell High School as well also participate in the Beacon Foundation, which indeed do wonderful work. But of course, the things that we are doing as a government include the trade support loans that are about encouraging students to complete their apprenticeship. Complete your apprenticeship and we'll knock 20% off the loan that you take, whether it be $5,000, for example, for a utility vehicle or accommodations assistance. But it's about encouraging those students to complete their education. And as a former speaker mentioned, the higher education reforms, 80,000 more young Australians from low SES backgrounds having an opportunity to go on to higher education. to have an opportunity to do sub-bachelor and diploma courses at university is truly a reform. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.